Welcome back, guys, to predicting the 2024 schedules for a bunch of different teams across the Power Four. Today, we're landing on the Oklahoma Sooners. Guys, I don't know about you. This Oklahoma schedule, I want to start with this. They got screwed. Like, with them and Texas coming in, if you were to just go down the list of, like, Texas got Vandy, they got Kentucky, they got Arkansas, they got Mississippi State. It's not a very balanced thing for Oklahoma here. But that being said, I think Oklahoma could be one of the most black and like they could be a 6-6 team. They could be a 9-3 team, and it all depends on how momentum goes for them for the season. So, I don't know. I want to hear what one of you guys have to say first before I go super, super deep into what I think about Oklahoma. Just to kind of get a more general feeling on what you're feeling with the team.
So when I look at the Oklahoma schedule, yes, they got screwed with the SEC games, but their non-con is very, very easy, right? You've got Temple, Houston, Tulane, and Maine. Didn't even really know Maine had a real football team. But, those are 4 guaranteed wins right there, right? So when you look at can Oklahoma make a bowl game, you've got 4 easy wins there. I think they go 7-5. And it's one of those predictions because I don't know, right? Like, I've seen them play Texas over and over and over again. They beat them last year. However, I think if they lined up 10 more times, I think Texas wins 9 of those 10 last year. So take that for what it's worth. But when you look at their first SEC game is at home against Tennessee. Now, that's no slouch. However, it's not the hardest game that they could have gotten scheduled first for their first SEC game. What really trips me up is their first away SEC game is at Auburn. Now, we know how tough Auburn is to play on the road. And for Oklahoma to do it as their first road game of the entire year, much less SEC, their entire year, is traveling to the Plains and playing Auburn. Now, when you look at the times, it will not be a night game. It'll be either a 3:30 or a 4:30 game. So that's huge if you're an Oklahoma fan because you don't have to play Auburn at night. But then it goes, obviously Texas, South Carolina's a win. At Ole Miss, dude, come on. Ole Miss is going to rock the house for Oklahoma coming to town. Then you have to go at Missouri after you play Maine. Like, that's going to be a crazy game. And I want to say this. The Big 12 does not have a huge home field advantage for any team. Besides Texas and Oklahoma, you could throw Oklahoma State in there. However, when these two teams play each other, they never play on the road at one of the other team's home field, right? It's always in Dallas at the Cotton Bowl Stadium. So they truly have never probably experienced a home field advantage like in at Auburn or in at LSU. I mean, that game is slated for 3:30 to 8 p.m. That one might be like a night game. What are you going to do when you've got LSU fans that are over there, growling, hooting, and hollering and going berserk, and it's 8 o'clock at night? Like, it's probably going to be terrifying. And you play them after you play Alabama the next week. Like, dude, this is a brutal schedule. I'm going 7-5. I think if you're high on them, Quinn, I agree. I think 9-3. If you're very high on them, I think a conservative number 7-5 though.
Yeah, I think that's the easiest way to go. And if you're looking at 6-6, if you want to be down on Oklahoma, I'm circling that third game of the season against Tulane and Norman. John Summerall from Troy. I think it's going to be a tough Group of 5 game. They struggled with SMU last season at home, so don't doubt that Tulane can come in because look at that next week. You're prepping for Tennessee. That's what you're doing. Okay, I'm going to overlook Tulane. It could be detrimental to the team for sure. You got Tennessee, Auburn, Texas, and then the big one I'm circling is Ole Miss and Alabama. I think those are the 2 biggest games for Oklahoma, and I think you need to walk away with a win out of one of those 2 to make a statement that, hey, I'm here in the SEC. If not, people are going to keep saying, hey, this is just a Big 12 team that is trying to take the SEC logo. I personally don't think they're going to win either of those games. I think you could get a win off Missouri or LSU or something like that. But I agree with Freddie that LSU could be a pretty tough game at night. And you could probably even lose to Auburn. Auburn had Ole Miss early in the season last year and had them on the ropes very early. Should Auburn beat you if you're Oklahoma? Not even a chance. But Auburn's probably going to give it to you. Definitely
At Georgia too.
Yep. So I think this is a terrible schedule, and I'm kind of down on Oklahoma. But I'll go conservative as well. I'll go 7-5 because you got some easy ones in there for the SEC like South Carolina. Golly, that might be. Yeah, that might.
That's
be
a trap game. That to me is a trap game. Right after you play Texas and right before you travel to Ole Miss.
And see, that's what I'm talking about when they got screwed on their schedule. Look at who they play in SEC play. Everyone they play is projected above 6 on the betting odds, except for South Carolina, who's at 5.5. So out of all the teams that are below 6, they're the highest one. You don't get Vandy, you don't get Mississippi State, and you don't get Arkansas, and you don't get Florida. All of those are going to Texas. That's half of Texas' conference schedule. Our teams below 600 or below 500 on the odds. But for me, I've got them going 8. Now, the games I've got them losing, though, I don't think would be the games a lot of people have them circled losing. For me, I've got them losing the game to Auburn because I think I think they beat Tennessee. I think they win their conference opener at home. I think Neyland Stadium's going to be, or not Neyland, but Oklahoma Stadium is going to be out of its mind for that game. But I think they turn around the next week and lose it all. They shouldn't, but I think they do. I think they beat Texas. I know that sounds nut to be saying right now in the middle of the summer, but you look at the history of OU Texas ever since they joined a conference together with the Big 8 and Southwest Conference merger in the 90s. Oklahoma owns Texas. They consistently win that game. Texas wins every now and again, and this year could be one of those years. But if you're going to ask me who I'm just going to blindly put faith in the offseason to win the Red River Shootout, it's Oklahoma. I think they upset Texas again this year because I think they're going to put a big old bullseye on there.
And to note that Texas have a 2-week bye going into Texas as well, Quinn.
Oklahoma does?
Yeah, they play Auburn September 28th, and they go into Texas October 12th. 2 weeks. Well, like week bye, whatever it's called. My bad.
They have a bye before the Texas game. And then I think they'll lose to Ole Miss because I'm pretty sure Ole Miss has a bye before Oklahoma. So I don't think Oklahoma stands a chance in that one. And I think they lose to Alabama. So I've got them beating LSU. I've got them beat Texas, and I've got them beating Tennessee. Missouri. Missouri's the other team I got them losing to. So Auburn, Ole Miss, Missouri, and Alabama. Those are the 4 I think they drop. I've got Oklahoma going 8-4. I think they'll be a lot better than people think they're going to be. I'll say this, it all hinges on their offense. It's shaky. We don't really know what it's going to be for 2024. And if it's not up to snuff, this team could very easily not make a bowl game because of how many good teams they are going to play.
Yeah, and their quarterback play, you got to remember they ran Dylan Gabriel out, so they apparently have a guy in Jackson Arnold that they believe is going to be the next great at Oklahoma. But Venables, I think, has been a decent coach, not who they thought was going to be an elite coach coming in. So, yeah, it's going to depend. You got a young quarterback coming in playing. You got the offensive line, like Quinn mentioned. It's going to be a rough season in the SEC for Oklahoma to start out.
I'll say this. I think Venables has actually done pretty decent. They did not have a good first year, but the team was also gutted by Lincoln Riley as he went out the door to USC. And then in year 2, they were a double-digit win team and an upset, and they beat Texas. Really, the only stain on last season was that they lost the last Bedlam. That's really the only major stain on last year's season in my mind. So the only reason I'm not super, super high on them is because I think they have. I'd have to double check Florida's schedule, but I think they might have the hardest SEC schedule. Now, obviously, Florida's is harder when you include but in conference, I think Oklahoma might have the toughest one. And that just not going to bode well for them. other than maybe like Vandy, but you know, who cares how hard Vandy the conference schedule. But yeah, guys, I think y'all got anything else you want to add for the Sooners for 2024? So we're all sitting. What they're over under 7.5, right? You know, both of you got them at 7-5, and I've got them at 8-4. So we're right there with Vegas on that 7.5 total. But guys, we've been Three Bold Takes. Freddie, Chase, Quinn. I hope you like the content. We're gonna have more of this coming out pretty regularly on the channel. So make sure you subscribe. Share this with people that are interested in college football in your life, whoever that may be. We'd love to get ourselves out there in front of anybody and everybody who likes hearing and talking college football. And we'll see you in the next video.